In the heart of a bustling city lived a young girl named Alara. Orphaned and with only the clothes on her back, she possessed a spirit as bright as the morning sun. Her days were spent on the streets, her laughter a rare melody amidst the city's noise, but her heart held a quiet strength. One crisp afternoon, a sleek black car pulled up beside her. A man in a tailored suit, Mr. Alistair Blackwood, one of the city's wealthiest figures, stepped out. His face was etched with a sadness that no amount of money could erase. He looked at Alara not with pity but with a strange glimmer of hope. "Young lady," he said, his voice a low rumble, "I have a proposition for you." He led her to his sprawling mansion, a place so grand it seemed to belong in a fairy tale. There, in a room filled with every toy imaginable, sat a small boy. This was Leo, Alistair's son. He was a beautiful child, but his eyes were vacant, and he hadn't spoken a single word since his mother's passing 2 years ago. Doctors, therapists, specialists from around the world, none could break his silence. Alistair knelt down, his gaze fixed on Alara. "My son, he's lost in his own world. I've tried everything." He took a deep breath, his next words hanging heavy in the air. "Make my son talk, and I'll adopt you. You will have a home, a family, everything you've ever dreamed of." The offer was staggering, a lifeline Alara never imagined. But looking at Leo, she didn't see a prize to be won. She saw a lonely soul, just like her. The challenge seemed impossible. The staff whispered that it was a fool's errand. But Alara wasn't a world-renowned specialist. She was just a girl who understood loneliness. She didn't try to force Leo to speak. Instead, she simply shared her world with him. She didn't have toys to offer, so she brought him things from the outside world: a uniquely shaped pebble, a fallen bird's feather, a vibrant wildflower she'd found growing through a crack in the pavement. She would sit with him for hours, not in silence, but in a comfortable quiet. She'd tell him stories, not from books, but from her own life on the streets. She described the colors of the sunrise, the sounds of the morning market, the stray cat she'd befriended. She spoke of her own sadness and her own small joys, painting a picture of a world that was both harsh and beautiful. She wasn't trying to fix him, she was just being his friend. One afternoon, Alara brought a small, injured sparrow she had found. She carefully cradled it in her hands, whispering soothing words to it. "Don't worry, little one," she said softly. "You're safe now. We'll take care of you." Leo, who had been watching from his usual corner, slowly got up. He walked over, his eyes fixed on the tiny bird. He reached out a tentative finger and gently stroked its wing. Alara's heart pounded in her chest. She continued to talk to the bird, explaining how they would make a small nest and find it some water. For the first time, a flicker of emotion crossed Leo's face: concern. He looked from the bird to Alara, his brow furrowed. Then, it happened. It wasn't a shout or a full sentence. It was just a whisper, so quiet it was almost lost in the air. As Alara was about to place the sparrow in a makeshift bed, Leo's small hand reached out to stop her. He looked at the sparrow, then up at Alara, his eyes wide with worry, and he said, "Hurts." The single word was like a thunderclap in the silent room. Alara froze, tears welling in her eyes. Alistair, who had been watching from the doorway, stumbled into the room, his face a mask of disbelief and overwhelming joy. He dropped to his knees, his eyes locked on his son Leo. He whispered, his voice trembling. Leo looked at his father, then back at the bird in Alara's hands. "It hurts," he repeated, a little louder this time, pointing at the sparrow's wing. It was a miracle born not of medicine or money, but of simple, unadulterated compassion. Alara hadn't forced the lock on Leo's voice. She had simply given him the key, a reason to speak, a shared feeling of empathy. True to his word, Alistair adopted Alara. She was no longer the poor girl from the streets. She was Alara Blackwood, daughter and sister. But the new name and the grand house weren't the real rewards. The true gift was the family she had found, and the family she had helped heal. Leo's journey wasn't over. He began to speak more, first in single words, then in hesitant sentences. Alara was always by his side, his patient guide and his closest confidant. They would spend their days in the garden, with their little sparrow, now healed and hopping around, a living symbol of their bond. Alara's arrival had surprised everyone. The millionaire, the staff, the doctors, they had all looked for a complex solution to a complex problem. But a young girl with nothing to her name showed them that sometimes the most profound changes come from the simplest of things: a shared story, a moment of kindness, and the quiet understanding between two lonely hearts. She didn't just make a boy talk. She reminded a family how to listen. Thank you so much for watching. What did you think of Alara and Leo's story? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more heartwarming content. We'll see you in the next one.